Have you ever felt that the very substance flowing through your veins holds secrets you've never dared to explore? Picture for a moment that the 2 letters scribbled across your medical file, the shorthand for your blood type, might carry far more significance than you ever imagined. It's so easy to dismiss them as sterile medical labels, as if they were nothing more than biological classifications. But what if those letters were actually ancient symbols? Clues woven into your being by forces beyond your conscious awareness. Carl Jung, the brilliant mind who brought us the concept of the collective unconscious, believed that the most transformative symbols often hide in plain sight. They don't shout. They whisper softly, persistently, like a quiet drumbeat reminding you there's more to your existence than meets the eye. Imagine your blood as a living map, a testament not only to your ancestry, but to the secret architecture of your spirit. Every heartbeat could be echoing the story of who you've always been and who you're still becoming. And in this journey of discovery, biology and psychology stand shoulder to shoulder, each one illuminating the other. Your blood doesn't just ferry nutrients or keep you warm. It might be carrying hidden messages about your instincts, your relationships, and the singular purpose that fuels your life. Can you feel it now? That gentle pulse just beneath your skin. It could be calling you to wake up to something you've always sensed but never named. Consider those moments when you instantly connect with a stranger across a crowded room. That magnetic pull that makes no logical sense. Or those patterns that keep repeating in your life, as if you were being nudged to learn a lesson you haven't quite grasped. Could it be that your very cells are holding the script? Jung would have argued that the body and the psyche are inextricably entwined, each reflecting the other in a silent, ongoing conversation. Your blood, he might have said, is not just a fluid. It is a potent symbol, an emblem of vitality, a carrier of deep passions, a thread tying you to every ancestor who came before you. Throughout human history, blood has been revered as sacred. Across mythologies and spiritual traditions, it was seen as the very essence of life, the sacred river that binds generations in an unbroken chain. Even in Japan today, the idea that your blood type reveals your personality has become woven into popular culture, an idea Jung would have found fascinating. In their cultural imagination, it isn't merely superstition. It's a living bridge between science and myth, an acknowledgement that life is never just black and white. Now, if you happen to be among those with type A blood, you may have already felt its quiet influence. The world often sees you as the organized one, the reliable one, the person who can be counted on to bring order when chaos threatens to take over. But beneath those outward signs of calm lies something richer and more profound. It's not simply a preference for neatness or a fondness for tidy rows of books. It's a deeper longing to create a sense of harmony in a world that rarely offers it willingly. Jung might have called this the archetype of the sage, the seeker who dedicates their life to understanding, to building structures that stand the test of time. You might have noticed it in the small things, the way you can't relax until you've straightened that picture frame, the way your thoughts demand to be put in their proper places before you speak them aloud. To others, it may look like fussiness, but to you, it feels like breathing. Your spirit finds peace in order because, somewhere deep inside, you know that it's not merely about control, it's about meaning. In a universe that can feel random and unkind, you create spaces where everything belongs. This instinct is your quiet gift. It draws people to you, colleagues who rely on your diligence, friends who find solace in your steady presence. In a crisis, you're the one who notices what's been overlooked. You catch the small mistakes before they bloom into disasters. Even if you never ask for praise, others sense your dedication. They trust you. They lean on you. Jung believed this was no accident. He would have said your psyche naturally gravitates toward this careful attention because it reflects something ancient, something essential about the way your soul was shaped. But every strength casts a shadow. Jung taught that no light exists without darkness, no virtue without its hidden cost. For those with type A blood, the same drive that compels you to create order can also feed an undercurrent of anxiety. The fear of letting something slip, of failing to live up to your own rigorous standards, can weigh on you like an invisible burden. You might find yourself lying awake at night, replaying conversations, or worrying over details no one else will ever notice. Jung described this as the introversion of the judging function, an inward turning of your critical eye that can be as merciless as it is meticulous. Yet he also believed that the first step to liberation is simply to acknowledge the shadow, to see it with compassion rather than shame. You don't have to abandon your standards. You simply have to remember that perfection is not the measure of your worth. You are worthy because you care, because you show up, because your longing for order is a reflection of your enormous heart. In your relationships, your loyalty often shines brightest. You're not someone who drifts in and out of people's lives. When you decide to love, you do so with your whole being. You build relationships like you build everything else, carefully, deliberately, with a sense of purpose that others can feel. It's why people come to you in their moments of doubt. They know you will be the steady hand, the calming presence that holds the center when everything else falls apart. But even this loyalty has its hidden price. Sometimes, in your effort to maintain peace, you set aside your own needs. You swallow words you should have spoken. You compromise when your heart was asking you to stand firm. Jung would say this is the shadow side of the sage, the tendency to prize harmony so highly that you forget to honor the wild, unpredictable truths that live in your own depths. Your task, then, is not merely to create order outside yourself, but to create it within, to make room for your own voice, your own longings, and your own imperfections. Because true harmony isn't achieved by silencing parts of yourself. It arises when you let every part have its place at the table. Deep down, you likely crave meaningful connection. Small talk might feel like static noise, draining and hollow. You hunger for conversations that matter, exchanges that pull back the curtain and reveal what's real. Jung would have seen this as the natural inclination of your introverted side. You're less concerned with surfaces and more intrigued by what hides beneath them. While others skate across the top of life, you're always searching for the hidden currents. Even when you appear calm and composed, your mind is rarely still. You're continually refining, evaluating, envisioning what could be better. Some might see it as restlessness, but for you, it's simply the way your spirit moves through the world. Always learning, always reaching for a clearer understanding. This orientation shapes your professional life as well. You're drawn to work that values precision and care. Fields like research, editing, medicine, or law. No matter what role you occupy, the same current flows through everything you do. The impulse to build something solid, something true. But perhaps the most important thing to remember is this. These archetypes don't confine you. They don't set the limits of who you can become. Instead, They act as mirrors, reflecting the energies that feel most natural to you. In that reflection, you can find the freedom to choose, to embrace the parts that serve you, to soften the parts that don't, and to grow beyond any pattern when your soul calls you to. If your blood is type B, a different story hums beneath your skin, a story shaped by curiosity and the hunger to explore. You're the one who can't help but look beyond the known horizon. You're the one who feels most alive when you're discovering something new. Where others find safety and predictability, you feel invigorated by change. You might notice it in the way routine makes your spirit feel confined, as though every day spent repeating the same steps is a day you're drifting further from your true self. There's a spark inside you that refuses to be smothered, a restless flicker that urges you to keep moving, keep questioning, keep uncovering the mysteries life has hidden just beyond the next bend. It's not just a passing whim. It's your soul insisting you were never meant to stand still. The Japanese idea of Ketsuekigata describes people with type B blood as independent, creative, brimming with passion. If you've ever wondered why you struggle to follow a single path, or why you can't help but color outside the lines, know that it's not a flaw in your design. Jung would say it's the natural expression of what he called the explorer archetype, the part of you that thrives on crossing boundaries and finding connections in unexpected places. When you walk into a room, you don't just see what is, you feel what could be. Ideas don't line up neatly in rows for you. They tumble over each other, weaving together into something fresh and alive. That gift makes you the person who can see a possibility no one else has noticed. In your presence, others might feel as though the world has opened up, as though life isn't just a list of obligations, but a story waiting to be rewritten. In relationships, your honesty stands out. You have little patience for pretense. You'd rather lay your truth bare than play along with the masks people so often wear. This raw authenticity can be disarming, even a little intimidating, but it also creates bonds rooted in something real. Jung would have recognized in you a living embodiment of what he called the transcendent function, the capacity to bridge opposing ideas, to hold both the known and the unknown without feeling the need to choose one over the other. Professionally, your strengths shine brightest, where creativity and adaptability matter more than rigid structures. You're the colleague who isn't afraid to abandon an old plan when inspiration strikes. You can pivot in an instant, trusting that the next step will reveal itself when you need it most. Others may not always understand this approach, but they can't help admiring the way you make it look effortless. Jung would call this psychological flexibility, a sign that you are willing to grow rather than cling to an outdated version of yourself. But every gift carries its own challenge. The same hunger for novelty that fuels your brilliance can sometimes leave you unmoored. You may find yourself chasing the thrill of the beginning without ever crossing the finish line. Ideas blossom in your mind like wildflowers, but it can be hard to stay long enough to see them bear fruit. This is the shadow side of your explorer spirit, the temptation to keep moving, simply because stillness feels too much like a cage. Jung believed that growth doesn't require you to deny your nature. Instead, it calls you to balance it, to know when to roam and when to root, to honor your need for discovery while also learning the quiet power of commitment. In love, this can be especially important. You long for connection that doesn't stifle you, bonds built on freedom rather than obligation. And while some might misinterpret your independence as detachment, the truth is, that your heart is simply asking for a love spacious enough to let you breathe. There is an exquisite beauty in the way you navigate life. Where others see only walls, you see hidden doors. Where most people cling to certainty, you are willing to trust the unknown. Your spirit is a spark that can ignite hope in those who have forgotten how to dream. And though your journey can sometimes feel lonely, like you're always moving forward while others settle into comfortable routines, Jung would have reminded you that this is not a burden to be ashamed of. It is a calling. Your task is not to become like everyone else. Your task is to embrace the truth of who you are, to be the innovator, the rebel, the curious seeker who reminds the world that there is always something worth discovering. Because you are not here to fit inside someone else's idea of a perfect life. You are here to forge your own path, to light the way for others who need the courage to do the same. If your blood carries both A and B antigens, if you belong to that rare type AB group, you might feel as though you live in the space between worlds. Not fully this, not fully that, but something richer, something more intricate. Jung would have been fascinated by you, because your very biology reflects the union of opposites he saw as essential to psychological wholeness. In your veins flows a duality, a quiet tension that gives you the capacity to understand complexity with an ease that others can't always fathom. Do you notice how easily you shift your perspective? How naturally you find yourself understanding conflicting viewpoints without feeling pressured to pick a side? To some, it may look like indecision, but in reality, it's a form of wisdom. You know that life is never just one thing. That truth often lives in the spaces where contradictions meet. Jung called this the conjunctio oppositorum, the merging of opposites that creates something new. People might describe you as enigmatic, even hard to define. You have a way of holding multiple identities at once, of being both logical and intuitive, analytical and creative. In social settings, you may find yourself adapting to the room without losing your sense of self. This isn't inauthenticity. It's a finely tuned awareness of context. You instinctively sense what is needed and adjust with a grace that feels effortless. This flexibility is one of your greatest gifts. It allows you to build bridges, to serve as a mediator when tensions flare. You're the one people turn to when they need someone who can listen without judgment, someone who can hold space for every messy, contradictory part of a story. Jung would have seen in you the healthy expression of the feeling function, an ability to feel deeply while also maintaining a wide, open perspective. But even this profound sensitivity has its shadows. When you spend so much time attuning to everyone else, it can be easy to lose touch with your own center. You might find yourself absorbing other people's emotions until you can't tell where theirs end and yours begin. You may struggle with the quiet ache of wondering who you really are when no one else is around to reflect you back to yourself. Jung would have said that this is the price of your gift, the burden of the mediator archetype. Your journey isn't just about understanding others. It's about returning to your own core again and again, so you don't become a mirror that reflects everyone but yourself. The gift of holding paradox becomes a trap when you forget that you too deserve clarity. This delicate dance between connection and selfhood plays out in your work as well. You excel in environments where nuance is valued, places where empathy and insight matter more than hard lines and quick answers. Perhaps you find fulfillment in roles that allow you to reconcile differences. Counseling, diplomacy, creative collaboration. Whatever your field, you're likely the one who can take fragments and weave them into something cohesive and alive. Your decision-making process can seem slow to more linear thinkers. You weigh not only facts, but the emotional currents that swirl beneath the surface. This thoroughness isn't indecision. It's an act of respect. You understand that choices are rarely simple, and you honor that complexity in every step you take. Over time, you may discover that the very qualities that once felt confusing become your most profound strengths. Your capacity to live in the in-between makes you a rare kind of leader, one who can guide others through uncertainty with compassion and grace. Jung would have called this individuation, the lifelong journey of integrating every part of yourself, even those that feel contradictory. Your blood type doesn't lock you into any single destiny. It doesn't declare what you must become. Instead, it offers a set of patterns, possibilities waiting to be shaped by your conscious choices. You are not bound by these archetypes. You are invited to engage with them, to learn from them, to decide which parts deserve a place in your evolving story. If you've ever felt that you don't fit neatly into any box, that you are both many things and something else entirely, know this: you are not broken. You are not incomplete. You are precisely the sum of every contradiction you carry. And in a world that so often demands black and white answers, your ability to hold the grays is a gift the world sorely needs. So when you feel yourself caught between opposing pulls, between the desire to belong and the longing to stand apart, remember that your path is not about resolving the tension. It's about honoring it, because it is in that very space between that your most authentic self can finally emerge.